What is happening, people? I'm back. And I don't expect many to be here, so don't worry. It's just a last-minute thing, and this is kind of the beauty of being blessed enough to have your own setup, which we've worked hard for. But yeah, I can just jump on like that. No longer is it a 10-minute job to set up, 10-minute job to take everything down. I just wanted to jump on this morning very quickly, and it's not football related, so apologies if you've come over for some Blades content. That's not what always this channel is going to be about. So what I wanted to say was, I was watching a YouTube thing last night, a YouTube video, a content creator, and they were talking about how they really struggle with imposter syndrome in terms of not believing that they should be in the position that they're in. And it really resonated with me. I was doing a live over on the Blades Ramble channel on, well, whatever night it was, because we do a lot over there. So maybe last night, maybe the night before. I think it was the night before. And somebody had accused me of a clickbaity title. And it really riled me, because I don't ever want to be seen as anybody that that does something under false pretenses or doesn't do anything openly and honestly. This is an experiment, this channel as itself, but this video certainly is an experiment. Normally, if I'm jumping on with no plan, which is what this is, I can fall on my sort of football auto-tune, if you like, and just talk rubbish and ramble, which is the whole point of the channel, about football, and sort of I'll always be able to pull myself back round. But these different topics that sometimes mean a little bit more to me in certain aspects. Imposter syndrome is something that I'm pretty positive most of us have felt at some time or another. Now, I can talk about it in two contexts, because I've got a very good job outside of content creation, and I often sort of question some of the decisions I'm making because I'm in a position of responsibility. I question myself. I question the level of knowledge that I've got. But when I take a step back and I assess a little bit broadly, I do know what I'm talking about for the majority of the time. I can't guarantee that's always the case, but I'm certainly always second guessing myself in my 9 to 5. And in this world of content creation, which, don't get me wrong, I would always recommend anybody getting into, but you do have to develop a bit of a thick skin, because certainly in the early days when you learn it, and I'm still learning, it's still early days. We've not even been online for 2 years, and this channel is very young in itself, but you're always learning, and you'll make mistakes, and you don't know what to do right for doing wrong. And honestly, the anxiety I had over opening up a paid tier for people, because who would want to pay me for content or extra content or behind the scenes stuff? Well, ultimately, I've been fortunate that I talk about something I love. That's sort of gained a little bit of traction. That's forged some relationships closer to the club. I get a little bit of information. I've also got a bit of a history in the game. You put all that in a bit of a melting pot, and it turns into something where I can get a bit of news every now and again. I can give what some may consider an informed opinion. I've not been in the game for 8 years. How old my girls are 8, so it'll be nearly 9 years. So it's amazing. But why I struggle to think, and I've got a business coach who is absolutely fantastic, who is encouraging me to do one thing, and then my head's saying, you can't do that. You can't do that. And again, it's just imposter syndrome coming and saying, and then it's the old adage of, you'll put a video out and you will get loads of really positive comments. And I really appreciate that. And I don't want to dismiss them off the bat, because it's validation. And that's another point I can come on to at another point, because it's very dangerous and difficult not to jump into chasing the validation. What you've got to try and do is, and it's not always easy, but keep your head screwed on in terms of what is the content that I would want to watch. And a lot of people sort of talk you against that. But I want to produce content, not for content's sake. And I'm talking more about my football channel now, which is my main channel, the Blades Ramble. I always want to put out interesting content rather than mundane, sort of run of the mill. Let's do this because we should do this content. I always want to jump on and be able to talk about something that we can go back and forth on. And when you're doing stuff like that, it's difficult not to chase validation from, am I doing what's right? Do people like what I'm doing? You have to always find that balance. And again, it feeds into that imposter syndrome of, well, who am I? Who am I? And I'm very conscious that I have been a big part of, well, I'm the only one that really does the channel. So the success is partly, well, mostly down to my involvement, but it's also been a huge community-led channel as well. So I feel like it's a huge part of organic growth for everybody. And it's difficult not to go off on a tangent, and I do ramble on. But it's been tricky to find a balance between being proud of myself and second-guessing myself and still trying to stay level-headed with it all in terms of not, I don't even know what I want to say really, but it really resonated with me, the fact that imposter syndrome was there. But ultimately, we've done an half decent job, haven't we? And I say we because, as I say, there's people that behind the scenes have really supported me, and the Ramblers support me in terms of over on the Blades Ramble side of things, and who knows what this channel will grow to be. There's a lot of people, just shifting gears a little bit, there's a lot of people that tell you what you should or shouldn't do with a second channel like this. I, at the moment, am scattergunning to a degree, and I'm conscious of it. But it's because I want to scattergun. I want to just get on and talk about stuff that isn't really content that fits on the Blades Ramble channel, which is purely Sheffield United focused. And that will always be a huge part of me. But this is just a bit of an outlet for me to decide where it might go and sort of see what I like doing as well as what people want to see. You shouldn't necessarily, talk about football, fitness, mental health, physical, whatever it is, anything, family, all on one channel necessarily. That's the advice you tend to get given. Focus on one subject, get a niche and run with it. Like I might want to talk about Premier League football or England, and then that should be the only thing. But what if I want to talk about other stuff? So again, if the channel doesn't get traction, it will feed into my imposter syndrome, and that told you you weren't good enough. It's just been a bit of a fluke all the way. Like, do you know what I mean? It's one of those that keeps repeating on you. I suppose the reason I wanted to do it was to say that there'll be some people watching this, and I appreciate the platform's not huge at the minute, so it won't go as far and wide as it necessarily could. But if you are watching this and you've ever second-guessed yourself, try and take a minute to have a step back and look at what you have done. And, sometimes you deserve a little break, and sometimes you deserve a bit of success, and cut yourself a bit of slack. So that would be my main message today. As I said, I didn't have a huge, and you'll get used to this, and I'll try and be a little bit more, that's my alarm saying I've got to go to school run. So sometimes you'll want to, I don't know. I'll get a bit more streamlined with this sort of stuff. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but stuff I want to talk about, I can just jump on and do. So anyway, that's by the by. I have actually got a few comments, so thank you to people that are jumping in. Morning, Dan. Morning, Cole. Cole says, in my opinion, Jimmy, we sometimes question ourselves because we want to be better and make people proud. For me, I don't want to let people down. But when we look, you realize how far the channel has come. Thanks for coming on and talking about this, because I think it's something a lot of people have gone through. Loving the content, up the ramble. Thank you, pal. Well, again, because I haven't really talked about anything meaningful, I will question myself about, why did you do this video? You didn't have a plan. You just jumped on and then you waffled for a little bit. And that's true. I have done to a degree. But this is real. This is how I feel. This is, if you were sat in the room with me now, we'd be having a conversation like this over a brew. So it's not the best YouTube video we'll ever produce, but imposter syndrome is real, and a lot of us struggle with it. And you know, why me? Why do I deserve to get this opportunity? I've got a huge meeting today to discuss sponsorship with the main channel, and I feel really privileged, and I feel like, how have I got to this position? But the other side of your brain saying you've worked hard for it. You know, you put videos out on a regular basis, and I suppose a little bit is because I don't see it as work. I see it as something I enjoy doing. So thank you to everybody that gets to see this video eventually. As I say, there's no need for everybody to join me live, and it might not get far and wide, but sometimes when I'm just thinking about something, it's nice to be able to come and offload, let you know that you're not on your own with it. And there's a few others in a similar boat. So again, I've no real outro, but thanks for joining us, and I'll catch up with you soon.